call the fault. Agassi was ready to walk. Wilander was ready to walk. And it was called long. Close one to start off with.
A little windy out there today. As you take a look at Mats Wielander's highest rank ever has been #1 in the world. That was in 1988. He's ranked number 102 now. Career earnings of closing in on $8 million. This year, 160. That's where he lives, in Greenwich, Connecticut, Vaxjö, Sweden. He's 30 now. He'll be 31 in about 2.5 weeks' time.
Missed it. Things have changed a little bit today because of the wind. It's been very hot and humid all week. Andre Agassi there, ranked #1. Obviously, that's as high as he's been. Look at the career earnings there, over $9 million, and $1.3 million this year. 25 years of age, born and lives in Vegas.
Those financial numbers pale by comparison, Fred, with his off-court endorsement earnings.
Oh, exactly. This is going to be an interesting match for the spectators because they love Agassi here in his match against Malavia Washington yesterday. Washington down match points, and he put up his arms and said, hey, how about a cheer for Washington? He got a standing ovation, this man also. But Wilander, a big favorite, just because of what he's done here for these fans this week.
That one, but he still wasn't coming in to take advantage of getting Wilander out of court. There's your head-to-head, 2 apiece. Wilander won the first 2 meetings. That was when Wilander was #1 in the world in '88, and since then Agassi has won the last 2, one last year and one this year.
Yeah, the one this year was at Indian Well, where he took Agassi took Wilander out 6-2, just hit him off the court. But the court was a little faster, conditions a little faster than they are here. Rather humid weather. And the court is much slower, a lot more difficult to hit outright winners on this court.
Break point for Agassi. First game players have suggested that the balls 30-40 are a little less tightly pumped, which means that they will play a little slower as well. I'm not sure whether that's true. I'll find out. But the fact the weather, Fred, has made them slow.
Well, the balls apparently fluff up a little more. It's the ATP Tour ball that they're using here, made by Penn, and it's been that's for all the ATP Tour events. Break point here in the opening game.
Breakers serve Agassi, first game of the match. He will serve, leading 1-0. Players are going to change ends. We'll take a break. More live coverage from the Dumaria Limited Open in a minute. Agassi, 1-0. He will serve with the breaker serve first set. Take a look at the draw for quarterfinals here at the Dumaria Limited.
Agassi there against Wilander now because Agassi took out Washington. Wilander a surprise winner over Kafelnikov. Enquist, well, a surprise over Michael Chang, but he's beaten him the last couple of times they've played, earlier in the year in Philadelphia and now here. Sampras over Steek, and Steek was all over Sampras for the best part of the first set there, and Sampras came back. Interesting as a change over there the first game. Both players talking to chair umpire Norm Christ about the opening point of the match, which finish that thought in a moment. Both players thought the first point of the match that Wilander hit was an ace, and they were discussing the ability of the lines judge there. And Norm Chris said that normally he's a very good lines judge, so they're sticking with him. The man is still there, but they did pose that question. Andre Agassi against Mats Wilander, I feel, is just the return of serve. He's not going to have to worry about that because Wilander's not going to serve and volley that much, but the pace of shot is the important factor here today against Wilander. Can he hit them so that Wilander cannot get in position and force Agassi to play his type of game? And then the weakness is impatience. If he's not patient enough to, just like that, he wants to try and hit the, finish the points very quickly. That can not help Agassi. This is just a one-hit rally here, and this is what Wilander, see that forehand when Wilander throws it up in the air, and then Agassi just tries to thump it for a winner without trying to move the ball around to get the shot that he needs. He had the big forehand that he wanted there off the return of serve, threw it long. Totally different conditions because it is rather breezy down there today. And the wind got that one, took it away. You could see right at the very last moment, Wilander saying, yeah, with his signaling with his hand, it's very tough to get to the ball. That one just jumped away from him as it bounced.
Game point, Agassi. Yeah, there's a lot of wind, as you said, so Agassi backs away. Trying to figure this morning, because we were walking around here in a pretty gusty wind, who it would hurt most. And I really think Wilander will be hurt more by the wind because Agassi's got such compact shots. You know, he doesn't wait for the ball to come to him. He greets it.
Well, depth is a big thing for Mats Wilander here. He's got to keep the ball rather deep into the court for Agassi. Otherwise, Agassi's going to punish those short shots. And in this case, Wilander is hitting with the wind and Agassi is hitting into the wind. It's pretty gusty down there at the moment, but in general, Agassi is serving against it, and Wilander is returning with it.
A break point for Wilander. On the other hand, talking about the wind to the extent that it takes a good, solid, mental, tough player, that's going to help Mats Wilander because there's nobody stronger than he is. Gilbert was saying that Agassi was going to make Wilander pay the price for short sliced backhands, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, that's what Wilander said. He had to keep the ball deep, but Agassi works this one around until he gets the short one. You can't do much. You can't get much depth on that one. He didn't have anything to hit it with, so it was short and it was dealt with, and that's where Agassi showed patience during that rally as opposed to the couple of early points in this game.
Game point, Agassi. Brad Gilbert, of course, is Agassi's coach. Game to Agassi, 2 games to love first set.
Interesting with Brad Gilbert. He was a player, a very consistent and steady player on the tour. And Andre said, hey, I want you to play a little more tennis now, Brad.
Okay.
You're getting things a little easy. You've got to get out there and work, play some tournaments, keep in shape.
He said eventually you're going to join the senior tour.
Yeah, 35 and over tour. So Brad's going to have to go to the gym and start hitting a few balls again. There's Brad Gilbert in the middle of your screen. You can see how windy it is down there. He's at court side.
I said to him this morning, inevitably we're going to see you, Brad. What do you want me to say when we do? He said, tell him that I want twice a 45-second consultation with my player.
Look at the wind in this rally here.
15 all. He's paying the price for the short ball.
15 all.
It's going to be difficult for him in this wind to keep it deep, Fred.
Yep, consistently so, yeah. Again, that was missed because of the wind. Wilander trying to get into the net, to a bit of a surprise tactic there, serve and volley. Strength there with Mats Wilander, his patience and mental toughness. Weakness today against somebody like an Agassi is the lack of power. He's got to try and pick up a few points, as he says, on serve. He's got to try and get a lot of first serves in.
Between the serve line and the baseline, that is a very difficult shot to hit, and he makes it look easy.
This is the way Kafelnikov started off against Wilander yesterday to get way out in front. He just out-hit him and then got to the net and played shots like Agassi here. Agassi is patient on that one until he draws the approach shot. And when Agassi gets in there, he really doesn't have to play too many tough volleys. Break points now for a 3-love lead for Agassi. Watch out.
Flip the line, so there's the second and insurance break for Agassi over Mats Wilander. 3 games to love. He'll serve after they take a break with the Canadian Open in Montreal. He's looking good, Andre Agassi. 3 games to love with 2 breaks of serve, playing against Mats Wilander. Fred Stolle talked to Wilander this morning about how Kafelnikov yesterday really fell into his trap.
You've seen me play so many times. I'm sure that everybody knows that I can't do that much. I have to stick to my game, and I can't just change and start cracking winners all over the place, because it's not a safe game for me to play. So yeah, I just got to play my game and hit a few slice backhands and bring the speed of the match down a little bit, and obviously I have to serve very well. I need those 3 points on my first serves that I've got a few yesterday.
Mats Wilander has played. He did it yesterday against Kafelnikov. He just lets you destroy yourself in a way. Agassi has not self-destructed yet. Watch this.
He comes into the net on this occasion. He's tried to rally from the baseline. He's got to get some points on the board, Wilander. So he comes in and he can volley. He can do it all. Last time he reached the semi-finals, though, was last year on the comeback trail. It was in Pinehurst. And he lost to Todd Martin there. That was on clay.
Mats Wilander is trying to take out the #1 player in the world. Well, that happened here in Montreal when Anders Jared in 1983 took out the #1 then, which that time, or who rather that time, was John McEnroe in the semi-final. And then Anders Jared went on to lose the final that year to Ivan Lendl.
Part 2. 30 on.
Wielander's getting close in all these games, but just no cigar. He had a break point on Agassi's opening service game and lost it. He's had a couple of opportunities in his first service game. He led 30-15 and lost it, so he's close but can't manage to put the score on the board. 15-30 here he led, and Agassi comes up with a good serve at 30 all. That's just too good. That's accurate, and it's tough to return. Just pace of shot.
4 games to love. Agassi over Wilander. 2 breaks to serve tonight. Catch ESPN 2's coverage of the second semi-final here at the Dumare Limited Open. Pete Sampras takes on Thomas Enquist. That's tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern. Then tomorrow we'll be back here on ESPN with a championship match at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Enquist-Sampras should be a good one because Enquist, the last couple of times they've played, has pushed Sampras to the limit. Now a change of tactics from Wilander. He's not doing anything from the back of the court. He's now trying to sneak in, and Agassi hitting with the wind on the passing shot here. Love 15. Boy, what do you have to do to get on the board?
Well, as you said, Freddie's been close.
Yep.
He has been close.
Good depth on the return from Agassi, forcing Wilander to backpedal, try and play off the back foot. Waiting for the overhead, looks up into the sun, but times it well into the corner. But Agassi's there to get it back. It's a short shot, and again, he puts Agassi under pressure. He goes for the big one.
And another reasonably close game. It's like Agassi has been showing him the menu. He just hasn't let him order anything yet.
That's an interesting way of putting it. That's very nice there. Look at the wind again.
Topspin lob is good. Game point, Wilander.
Smart play from Wilander because it's much easier to play a topspin lob into the wind. The wind has held up these shots, the short balls. It allows Agassi to come in, and then Wilander against the wind can hit into the wind with topspin, and it stays in a lot better than traveling with the wind. So a game point now.
Wilander's on the board, and he taps the ball up into the air in delight, I suppose. He's not a very demonstrative fellow, is he? Unlike this one. 4-1.
Agassi leads.
Agassi ahead, 2 breaks to serve, 4 games to 1. He will serve. Don't underestimate the fear factor in tennis. Now that Agassi is number 1, we asked him whether the other players fear to play him.
I've always had a knack for bringing out the best in my opponents, you know, and a lot of times when somebody is scared, they fight harder, you know. When somebody fears, they bring out more because they know they have to, you know, and so I think that there's a give and take, you know. There's a advantage of getting that early break because the guy feels and respects your game. By the same token, there's also the reality of them knowing that, hey, this is the match of the week for me, this is a match of the month, possibly the match of my career. So you're really going to get the best.
That's an interesting comment from Agassi there, Cliff, because I spoke to him this morning when he arrived, just before he went out the practice court, and he said, Malavia played an unbelievable match with me yesterday. He said, that's the best, you know, he's played against me. And he was quite surprised that, he said, he hit the ball a lot harder than I expected yesterday. So it's a fact that when players play against him, they think, well, okay, maybe it's the match of the week, and they've got to try and lift their game. Washington played a terrific first set yesterday.
Part 2.
15 all.
He still needs to defend 4 of his titles from last year, but it's this one and then the US Open, and then towards the end of the season indoors over in Vienna and Paris. So it looks as though he's going to be remain number 1 up through the US Open. And he's in pretty good position here at the moment because he won this title last year.
And then obviously, Fred, as you watched the replay, went on to win the Australian Open, and then this year went San Jose, won Key Biscayne, and then just last week in Washington, D.C. So he's got a lot of titles under his belt here in the last 12 months.
Part 2. 30 on.
Wilander sticking to the game plan, just slice backhands. He said he has to keep them deep. It's no good just playing short shots there.
Cut up. 42.
Problem is, once you play that slider and you get it up in the air, it travels. And from this end, Wilander's slicing the ball with the wind. So if it gets up too high, it's going to float a little long, as that one did.
Game point, Agassi.
Égalité. Deuce.
Interesting that he can control the ball so well in the wind, Fred, because I've said for years, and I think you agree with this, that he doesn't have a lot of margin for error on his shots.
Agassi?
Yeah. He hits the ball relatively flat, really. Of course, he's got some top. But it's not like he's hitting the ball 6 feet over the net.
I think he's going to use that margin today, though, under these conditions.
Avantage. Agassi.
See, that one just carried a fraction along. Otherwise, it was a winner.
Come on, Matt.
So again, Wilander very close in this service game, but down a game point.
Agassi.
Agassi holds on and has got an insurmountable 5-1 lead. First set. That's what they're playing for. 133.8 at least if they win today, and then the champion will take them 254. That's US dollars, worth about 30% more than Canadian at this point. Semi-finals, they've already picked up 70,000 there, the points as well.
First.
Take that insurmountable comment back, because Michael Stich yesterday had 4 games to love, 2 breaks against Sampras, and lost the first set.
I don't think that's going to happen here, though. Everything's pretty close. The game going downwind. There's the winners. 9 from Agassi, 2 from Wilander. 11 errors from Agassi because he's the one that's been forcing the pace along. 7 from Wilander.
Tennis, part 2. 51.
Shields in the background right of your screen there. There's the cap and the dark glasses on. Next to her, one of Andre's personal assistants, Rich McGee. Rich McGee. $15.30.
Is that a new word for them, Cliff, now that when they travel around with the players, they become personal assistants now? That's like, you know, that's...
I'll find some way to describe them. You probably have a better word, Fred. I know what you're thinking.
All. Good touch. Agassi was right on that one. As I said, when he comes in and he makes approaches, his opponent's normally out of court trying to make passing shots, and Wilander, they're way behind the baseline. Agassi knew that if he could control the drop shot, half volley, then he had the winner. It's now set point.
Égalité.
Wielander's got a game point. Remember, it's 1-5 first set.
Last time Wilander did well in well, they weren't Super 9 championships then, but in '89 he was a semi-finalist up in Stockholm, and then he reached the finals of Cincinnati, the ATP championships there. He did reach the final there in 1988. So Wilander holds serve, but it's 5 games to 2. Agassi leads opening set.
I have never seen our director, Bob Rosberg, walk by a cappuccino stand without stopping. So if the show goes downhill from here, he's probably going to leave the track. One of the things you can do here at the Dumaria Limited Open, the Jarry Tennis Stadium. We are watching live coverage here of Andre Agassi and Mats Wilander. Agassi's got the first set very much under control. This is the first of 2 semi-final matches to be played today. Pete Sampras and Thomas Enquist will play tonight here, and you can watch that on ESPN2 at 11 p.m. Agassi serving for the first set. Cliff Drysdale here. Fred Stolle sitting next to me. Hope you're having a good time.
Zero. Hands. Love 15.
Get to the semi-final and you're going to head up a lot of columns like this. 3rd in the tournament. 90% 50% of his serve games.
Wind took it out and held it up.
Chance, part 2.
Wilander nearly getting blown away there at the back of the court.
One good thing about the wind is that it blew the clouds away at least, or most of them. It was pretty dismal this morning. There was a lot of rain this morning. It cleared up. 15:30. By the way, it's another sellout today. More people watching this event than ever in the history of the Canadian Open. It's really been terrific. It started out with Ruzetsky, and that really got things going.
Yeah. Ruzetsky, of course, was the top Canadian who has now become British citizen.
30 all.
Won Davis Cup for
Part 2.
Britain.
Pretty all.
He sure was big news here for the first couple of 3 days, including his first round loss in the tournament. And the crowd really booed him throughout his doubles and singles.
This is one of the oldest tournaments in the world, and it's nice to know that they're going to build a brand new stadium here at Jarry Park.
Set point Agassi.
Good.
It is long.
Good.
Agassi holds on, 2 breaks to serve, relatively easily winning the first set by the score of 6 games to 2. Although, as we said, Wilander had his chances. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball travels to the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Paul O'Neill and the Yankees, one of the hottest teams in baseball, take on Kirby Puckett and the Twins tomorrow night here on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock on the West Coast.
Paul O'Neill, the Yankee slugger, is also a very good tennis player. He's a big lefty and an A-grade tennis player. Enjoys going and watching the tournaments. Wilander's staying in a lot of these rallies. The crowd don't like that one. He's a favourite here, Wilander, for what he's done as a veteran these last 3 or 4 days. He's trying to stay in this match with Agassi. Agassi just overpowering him from the baseline. Struggles to get this one, and the slice stays up in the air and floats along, and they're not happy with this call. It's a close one. Too good. Wilander's tried everything. He's a very good thinker out there, and he said, hey, I just can't come out here and just blast away winners. I've got to work for my points, and he's worked very hard and hasn't got too much to show for it. He tries to sneak in behind this one. Agassi sees him and just threads the line, threads it down the line. Love 30.
First game, second set. And that one will go wide, so here are 3 break points for Agassi. Talking about Wilander as the veteran. He's 30 years old, and of the top 20, most of them really are on the south side of 25. But it wasn't too long ago that 28-30 was when you were at your peak.
At your peak, yeah. All the players these days are taller, bigger, stronger.
That's wide, and Agassi's got the break. He got 2 breaks in the first set. Last time they played on a hard court, it was all Agassi, love, and 2. Not much has changed.
Volvo International Tennis Tournament. Big time tennis, big time fun. Call 1-800-54-VOLVO. But hurry, tickets are going fast.
Du Maurier Limited Open, live coverage from Montreal. Agassi has won the first set and 1 game to love with a break in the second.
Time.
Interesting first set. That's just what happened. Agassi's winners 11 to Wilander's 2. Wilander just a counter puncher, and this we thought might happen. Agassi would hit him off the court, and he's continued to do that. Agassi 79% first serve, points won. Wilander really struggling. There have been long games. The first set took 38 minutes, but Agassi's come out on top.
Agassi's got his coach here. Of course, we talked about him, but Wilander doesn't. He's on his own.
Practice this morning with Thomas Enquist. Just moves the ball around so well, Agassi, and he has been patient today, waiting for the big shot.
Well, Gilbert told me before the match, Fred, he said that he's going to be able to run around the backhand side. And smack the forehand. You've seen him do it a number of times already.
15-all.
And it's even difficult for Wilander to get into the net and make the volleys because of the windy conditions, and you're looking at a little bit of heavy topspin from Agassi, so you don't get enough stick on the volley, and if you do that, then Agassi has another crack at the passing shot. So in all phases of the game, it doesn't look promising for Wilander.
In 1988, Mats Wilander won 3 of the 4 Grand Slams. The only one that he didn't win was Wimbledon. Take a look at his career titles, Agassi, and the Wilander numbers: 33 between 1982 and 1990. He won all 3 Grand Slams. The only one he didn't win was Wimbledon, as I mentioned. He never won it. He won the Australian 3 times and the French 3 times. Game point for Agassi.
Cut on 10. 40-15.
And again, Wilander working his way into the net off the drop shot. He's very quick to get up there, but watch this. And it doesn't matter. Wilander knows what he's doing at the net. Is a good volleyer. Agassi just a little bit too much pace of shot again.
Agassi, 2 games to love and 1 set to love. Wilander is only able to, has been only able to hold serve twice in the match. Wilander is trying to become the lowest ranked finalist in the history of the Canadian Open. A couple of years ago, Michael Pernfors, you may remember that, won the title. He was ranked number 95 at the time, and he took out Todd Martin in that final.
just very tough conditions. You can see, look at the wind there. Wilander lucky to be able to walk back. He's walking back into it.
15 all.
It makes things difficult when you're trying to hit approach shots, and you know that against somebody like Agassi, you have to keep the ball deep. And if you aim it too deep and there's a gust of wind around, it's going to float a little long.
Top. 30-15.
It's his first double fault in the wind. I mean, he didn't serve a double yesterday. He doesn't go for much. We talked. He usually has a very high first serve percentage. Today it's at 60% at this point. A little change of strategy there. Serve and volley play, and it worked just fine.
And the crowd love it. The crowd absolutely a packed stadium here as Mats Wilander throws up. He said he had to serve well to stay in this match, but he didn't want to serve and volley a lot. He's had to do it as a change-up measure to try and get a few points. 30 all. Yes, you see Wilander there saying, hey, I'm not getting the same bounce. Some of them up high, some down low, and he's having a lot of trouble with that slice backhand. Also having a lot of trouble on winning points on second serve, 23%. That's been the big difference. Only 55% when he gets the first serve in, so he's not having a good day at the office.
Wait, please.
Break point.
That's the second break of the second set. 3 games to love. Deja vu, same as the first set. Agassi's very much in control. Wielander's in real trouble now. Agassi with a 3-game to love lead. That's 2 breaks to serve in the second set. Fred asked him this morning if his success here this week had inspired him to maybe think about getting back into the top 20 or 10.
Well, I think that it's gonna come as I'm improving, as I'm getting better and better results. I think I can't, I can't aim at being top 10 when I'm still not even top 100. And by now I am top 100, so now I aim for something reachable, like a top 40 or top 30, I think. But it's not really a concern. I know I'm gonna have good weeks, I'm gonna have bad weeks, and to get up to the top 10, you have to play so many tournaments, and you have to be so steady all the time that I don't know if it's possible yet, but if I play like this, I feel like as long as I have a chance to beat the top 10 guys, I'm happy.
30 love Agassi.
He's beaten a couple of them this week, but the #1 man in the world has just
demolishing him.
Demolishing him at the